I, as a Gen Zer, hate to say it, but I believe it is the phones. Hi, my loves. Welcome back to my channel. It's Touches, and I teach you how to love yourself while also growing into loving myself. The 1-3-5 rule of productivity goes as follows: pick 1 big task, 3 medium tasks, and 5 small tasks to focus on each day. That quote sounded so good, but I feel like in this day and age where it's so easy to just pick up your phone and be entertained, we don't even do that many tasks. What do you mean 1 big task, 3 medium tasks, 5? 1, maybe 2. That's all you're gonna get because my show is on and I have to go. It's true, smartphones can make people lazy thinkers because I am of the opinion that people use their phones as a way to avoid from having to think about certain things that we do not deem as vitally important. Plus, phones impact the way that we make decisions, leading to us not really making the best one sometimes. I know the argument is going to be, well, it's possible to be on your phone and be productive because it's all about the type of content that you engage in. And I like to look at motivational content and I like to look at productivity content and The fact of the matter is, you still need to be off of your phone in order to put any of that into full use. There are countless YouTube channels, including mine, that teach you how to improve your life, YouTube channels that teach you how to get fit, YouTube channels that teach you how to improve your mindset. And yet, in order to see how any of those things work in your life, you actually have to come offline, put the phone down, and go outside. What do you mean you're reading How to Win Friends and Influence People, but you're scrolling on TikTok all day? You have to actually meet the people that you're going to influence. Am I wrong or am I right? I remember that English was one of my favorite subjects in school. One of, not the favorite. But English was one of my favorite subjects in school because of the opportunity I had in which I could write essays. I loved, if you're familiar with the testing system in Trinidad, you know that we used to have this one black and white photo on a page. And the prompt would be, write a story, 500 to 1,000 or 1,000 to 1,500 words based off of this photo and find a way to use this word or that word or whatever, right? And this was a part of a test that was probably 1 hour long or 1 hour and 30 minutes long. And you had to find the time to dedicate to writing this 1,500 word story by hand off of this black and white picture that you could barely see properly and make it good. I kid you not, one of the things my friends and I loved to do when we got back our paper was to switch each test scripts so that we could read each other's stories and see whether it was a good story or whether it was a bad story. I remember I used to watch movies when I was younger or read books, and any word that I find that I didn't know, that I never heard anyone else use, I used to be so excited to be able to write an essay in class or on my test script in which I could use this word. But right now, in this era of technology, if you need to write an essay or write a paper, it is so much easier now for someone to say, well, just put that prompt into ChatGPT and it's going to give you many options and you could just choose one and just copy it and just change up some words. It is so much easier to put a prompt into Google and you have Samsung and you have Gemini or you have whatever it is, whatever else, before you even see the results of the articles that naturally come up with your Google search. You see an AI overview that gives you everything, that has pulled from different sources and gives you everything that you could possibly need to answer this question without you even having to do much. And while that has caused so many things to be improved in terms of efficiency and in terms of timing, and I feel like it has caused us to do an injustice to ourselves, because now we are less inclined to do the research or read books or do the groundwork so that we can fully understand what it is we're actually reading, writing, or typing. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not trying to revile against smartphones. I love a phone as much as the next person. I literally use one for my YouTube channel. So I can't speak too much. I agree that phones make life a lot easier. However, I can't say that when you get caught up in being so easily entertained, it's a lot easier for us to feel this looming sense of emptiness because we are taking one dopamine hit after another. And little things like reading a book, going for a walk, looking at a flower, sitting out in our backyard and just sitting in silence no longer does it for us, because it is so much easier, or we have gotten used to having entertainment right at our fingertips. I believe that's why the depression rate is the way it is as high as it is, because life as a whole doesn't do it anymore. You're always looking for the next big hit. You're always looking for the next best thing. You are like an addict coming back for a hit. They have created little addicts in us. When you realize that you no longer get dopamine hits from things that seem to be too simple or too slow for you, a good example is the difference between movies that we watch today and movies that were popular way back when. I looked at Casablanca a couple months ago and I was so enthralled because I felt like that's what my brain needed, because every day I was just hit with forms of entertainment where every 3 seconds or 45 seconds there's a change in scene, and everything is just so bright and colorful. And sometimes you just need to go back to looking at a black and white movie to reset your nervous system. I watched it and I was telling myself, oh, this is so lovely. I love this. I love these slower films. I love the fact that everything is happening in one location, and if they change to another location, they're coming back to this one location. But my boyfriend was also looking over to see what it is had me so intrigued. And about 5 minutes in, he started to complain. And he was like, oh, this is so boring. This is so slow. And I said, yeah, because you're always on that phone. Our brain is moldable. It adapts to whatever habits you feed it. This includes the habits of thinking as well as not thinking. And if you get used to the latter, you will eventually find yourself in a space where you're not as sharp as you used to be. This is why people lose the ability to remember certain things as they age. Now, this is not the only reason, but this does contribute to it. When you constantly put yourself in a position where you don't have to necessarily think about anything, you lose your ability to be intelligent. These are why you often see older folks doing word puzzles, things like Sudoku, doing math problems. These are all to keep their mind thinking and keep their brain sharp. Your brain is a muscle just like any other muscle in your body. The same way you train your biceps, you train your glutes, you train your hamstrings, you train your core in order to keep it strong and fit. You also need to train your brain. And having a screen time of 14 hours a day is the worst way to train your brain. Now, a lot of stats and a lot of studies have been done that show the progression of more screen time or more phone time in relation to student testing and the capability of students in this era to be able to do something as simple as sit in a room for 30 minutes with 5 math questions and complete them fully. If you know anything about the schooling system these days, you would see that there has been a dramatic decrease in a student's ability to write an essay from now versus 2010, even 2012. And something that made it even worse was the pandemic that we not too long had. You put a bunch of people in their homes for 2 whole years with nothing to do and no way to interact with each other unless they had social media, and you find yourself with a bunch of phone and screen addicts that only know how to scroll through TikTok and scroll through Instagram. Release those same persons back into society, and you're going to find that it's even harder to wean them off because they are now so used to the dopamine hits that they get from scrolling on this glass screen. All in all, these studies paint, for me at least, a really, really gloomy picture about society's ability to retain information from now and for the next 100 years. Your phone can be helpful to you. Yes. I mean, you might even be watching this on a phone. Hi, boo. And I would say this video is quite helpful. But while you're scrolling on your phone looking for inspiration and entertainment, remember that eventually you have to put the phone down for your own good so that you can actually put the things that you have learned into action. If you are as ambitious as you say you are or want to be, you have to give your brain time to breathe. Let me know what you think about this video down in the comments below. Don't be shy, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Love you, bye.